Be strong.
Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Crypto Cave. Hope you're doing well, guys. 17th of August 2022. Got a packed show here today, guys. Got a few topics I wanted to cover. Let's see if we can get this done in, say, 20 minutes or so. So I want to try and keep it short. So just looking at today's events and things that are happening, guys, there seems to be a lot happening in the world at the moment. There's actually quite a lot to stay on top of. The UK hit a 40-year high inflation rate today. I think we climbed to 10.1% for July. To be honest with you guys, I can't see this getting much better. Potentially, I think we're looking at hyperinflation, then deflation. So just get yourselves prepared, guys. You know, stock up on certain things that you know are going to be costing you more due to inflation next month. You know, little things like that. But that's not looking good, guys. The UK economy is not looking bright at all. I think we are more or less in a recession. I don't think they've called it yet. But unlike the USA, who is trying to change the definition of what a recession is. So if you can see, guys, you know, this is all just really, really sort of sinister stuff really here now. Things are getting bad. And, you know, I would suggest that you guys start to plan and prepare for what's coming here, guys, because this here doesn't look good. If you imagine that when we had the pandemic and everybody was, you know, killing each other just for some toilet paper, I knew it then. That this is on a downward slope from then onwards, really. So yeah, inflation, guys, not a good look for the UK economy. We've also got no real prime minister at the moment making decisions about certain things. The energy crisis is just getting from sort of worse to worse here at the moment, guys. And this is another narrative I'm picking up, guys, on the sort of political sort of the news at the moment and things like that, is water levels. You know, we're seeing a real narrative here about water levels. You know, people like you know, I think it was the guy from The Big Short. He only started it. He left the stock exchange, the stock market, and started investing in water investments only, because really that will become the only commodity really in the future that's going to be important, I suppose, because we can't live without water, guys. Some other sort of news here, guys, that's trying to distract you from what is actually going on here in the financial world. You know, guys, this here is all because we have been in years and years of just greed and borrowing and just bad financial planning, really, by our government and the world. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is all a deliberate ploy to dismantle the world financial economies, to dismantle currencies and introduce, you know, a new form of money. I heard the other day that there used to be the system, or I read somewhere the other day there used to be a system, I think it was called the tally sticks, which is what the UK system was, and it was sort of had a lot of debt, which was built up from the world wars, and they introduced a new system, which was notes. So don't think it can't happen, guys. Don't think that they can't pull the rug beneath your feet here. So really, you know, you want to be protecting yourselves moving forward. So looking at moving forward, guys, we're going to be looking at some crypto news here. I'm just going through a few bits and pieces that I've been picking up on over the last time I spoke to you. And the next one really is quite a big deal, really, as far as I'm concerned. It's to do with Blackrock and their partnership with Coinbase, which I think is quite a big move here, if I can get the article up. But here it is. Coinbase forges deal to give Blackrock clients access to crypto. Now, look, guys, Blackrock, the largest asset manager in the world, I think managing around $15 trillion. And they will be allowing the Aladdin clients. Now, I want you to remember that word, Aladdin, the Aladdin network. There you go, it says it there. Venture will allow customers of Aladdin network to trade Bitcoin directly. Now, they are allowing people to invest from their funds here into Bitcoin. So it's really allowing institutional investors to come in here, which means that potentially we're going to have sort of the market cap of crypto increasing considerably when this does happen. A lot of people are itching to get into or assign part of their sort of pension or their funds that they're under management, and allocate a portion of that to Bitcoin or add Bitcoin to it. So major institutional investment is coming to the crypto market, and I would suggest that you look at this relationship here as one of the moments where institutional investors are starting to come in, and that's where we go from a $1 trillion market to a $20 trillion market, which is on the horizon, coming up in the near future. I don't know when. It's not financial advice, but certainly by 2030, 2025, 2030, we will have major pension funds that are adding a proportion of their allocation to Bitcoin, as well as other cryptocurrencies. So as this thing plays out, more other digital assets will be added to this. But also the relationship is obviously something which may save Coinbase, who are potentially going through lawsuits, etc. So a very exciting development here, guys. So I think it's one to keep your eye on, but really does give you the heads up that institutional investors are coming in. Fidelity and the other asset managers are all looking at crypto. Institutions are looking at crypto and looking to allocate a portion to the crypto market, guys. So that's very interesting there, guys. So keep your eye on that. A few other things I wanted to show you here, guys. So if you remember that we were just talking here about the financial time, about the relationship with Blackrock. Blackrock are potentially going to become, or I don't know if they are already, systemically important. So there's a video here I want to show from the digital asset investor. It was something that he posted here. It's Jim Rickards, who I'm a great believer in, who is somebody who is really got his eye on the ball, former CIA, worked at a very senior level within the US government. So I think it's worth listening and noticing what this guy is saying. Now, this was from something a while ago. It's worth looking at and just listening to it. We can have a few moments and look into what they're saying.
You can do that with dollars. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you can't do it with Bitcoin. You pay $50 for a $2 cup of coffee, $50 transaction fee.
You don't know what it's going to cost you in 10 minutes.
Exactly right.
There are some cryptos that are working with regulators and are working with banks.
I agree.
Ripple would be an example.
Ripple would be an example, right.
Now this is and I can imagine in the next 5 years, instead of us doing sterling against the dollar or sterling against yen and doing these types of transactions, we'll do sterling versus Ripple. And the reason being, dollar right now is a 2-day settlement. With something like Ripple, you could do settlement in seconds. And I think that there's a future there where the guy that's trading spot FX today will be trading spot FX against Ripple in the future, in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that Ripple has a great future because it's right now supported by all the banks and by all the regulators.
And it has an elastic monetary base.
So
Well,
if we take that and you go to the blockchain ledger, if you take that concept that you're discussing, I have no problem with it. I agree with it. But you're talking about money. You're talking about transaction, medium of exchange. There has to be something behind it, and that's where I'm going to pull this conversation back to gold. There has to be some sort of reserve asset. The problem with fiat currencies right now is that they can print as much as they want. Digitally or it's not tied to anything, and so as a result, the value of the money can be negated. It can be destroyed over time.
But
and it is destroyed over
I think one of the biggest sales pitches that folks that enjoy Bitcoin talk about is the fact that it's finite. And yet you have a fork, and boom, here's another currency based off of this one. You have another fork, more currency, another fork, more currency.
The fact that it's finite
It's highly finite.
is actually one of the worst things about Bitcoin, and it shows that really smart developers and really smart engineers don't know anything about monetary economics. Because if you understand monetary economics, you don't want hyperinflation, you don't want money everywhere, but the money supply has to grow a little bit. As the economy is growing, if the money supply doesn't grow and the economy is growing, that's inherently deflationary. Each coin is going to get you more and more because you've capped it out. Well, if it's deflationary, if you look at, say, the dollar, M0, M1, M2, 3, etc., what you find is that most of the money in the world isn't really money, it's credit. Credit is what makes the world go round. People borrow, if you have money and I borrow from you and I give you.
So, look at that, guys. How interesting is that conversation? And that's Jim Rickard talking at a round table somewhere. Ripple is being mentioned, guys. XRP is being mentioned here, guys. It's something that you can't hide away from. Ripple is going to be part of the new monetary financial system. I believe it will be used as a neutral bridge asset, and it's going to be used mainly on a wholesale level between central banks. And we know from Ripple themselves already, who have told us that they have a team of 40 individuals that are working with the central banks directly on pilots. So we're going to see CBDCs being introduced by every country throughout the world, and effectively it's the cryptocurrency for the country. However, they are not interoperable as far as I'm aware for cross-border. So therefore, we need something which is going to be of a neutral status, and that happens to be XRP, the neutral bridge asset. So get yourself a bag, to be honest. It's worth looking into where Ripple and XRP ties into it. We only had yesterday JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, HSBC come out and say that Ripple is a currency. It's quite clear what is going on here, guys, and it looks as if potentially we're going back to some gold-backed system. CBDCs and gold will also be at the heart of it as well. So start to question your money, guys. It's no longer what you think it is. Inflation is hitting, guys. We were told today 10.1%. That means you're losing 10% on your money that's sat in the bank every year. You've got to make changes. You have to adapt, otherwise you will get left behind, or it may finish you off. So let's just go on to Cointelegraph, guys. See what's popping on the news out here, guys. So we can just look at some of the articles that are going on here, guys. We've had a few jumps in the crypto market over the last 24 hours, 48 hours. Things like EOS has jumped up. Obviously, Ethereum is pumping because of the merger. My speculation is that it will probably dump after that. But let's see what happens. And again, things like this here. Look, fake Manchester United token source 3,000% after Elon Musk jokes about buying the team. I mean, it's things like this that will become a thing of the past. Crypto is going to get serious, guys. Institutional investors are coming in. 90% of cryptocurrencies are going to disappear. You just have to listen to Brad Garlinghouse tell you that. And those currencies or those coins that haven't got any utility That's the key word here, guys, crypto investors. Just remember, you know, the assets that you're investing in must have some sort of utility in the future. So let's carry on. I saw something about SHIB here as well. SHIB's been up as well. Again, it's another telltale sign. Shiba Inu and these other Inus are not going to be running the financial system, guys. They're not going to be used in trade finance, in the main nooks and cranny of the financial system. You ask yourself, can you see it being Shiba Inu? Truly ask yourself that, or is it going to be an asset that's been tried and tested? Bank of England has been working with Ripple, since 2015-16. The main architect of all of this, as far as I'm concerned, is Mark Carney. Research him, look into that guy. He's one of the main architects of this new blockchain development, that as well as obviously the other, or in partnership with the other organizations, i.e. the IMF, the Bank for International Settlements, etc. So let's move on, guys, and look at some of the crypto prices at the moment, see what the prices are saying. I've just started using Coin Paprika. It seems to be a good site, the desktop version anyway, because it gives you a good breakdown of what's going on. Bitcoin, well, it's down on the 24-hour, about 2% here, guys, so nothing to sing about there. Ethereum's just holding up, really, I suppose. Well, no, it's down 2%. It's been up over the last week or so, so I think it was due to come down. Tether, I think we've got our dollar peg back, but obviously, guys, Tether, huge potential to collapse here, guys. It's highly connected with Evergrande and the Chinese real estate market. It's potentially could be a massive Lehman Brothers type situation here if Tether collapses. So we're not entirely sure. USD has not been faring much better, but at least they've got their dollar pegs. XRP sitting at the number 6 spot, down not as much as the others, but down a little bit today, but just holding tight, really. I saw a little pump yesterday. Nothing really too much to sing and dance about. But again, if you go down here, you can see things like SHIB and Dodge. The meme coins are starting to blow up again a little bit here. So I'm not quite sure what that's indicating, but really, these are just speculation coins. I can't see much utility in them. But we'll see what happens. So that's the market. I mean, overall today it's looking pretty stagnant, and I think we're waiting for some breakouts here or a move down. My honest opinion is that the bottom isn't in. The macro picture just doesn't point to that. I think we've got a little bit more way to go down on Bitcoin, which is a clear driver for the altcoin market. It's quite strange because the Nasdaq has been going up and Bitcoin has been going sideways. So I think we've got a bit more room to go down, potentially around the $12,000 mark, which would mean that all the other assets would potentially follow suit as well. So yeah, I don't think this is the bottom, guys, and I think that potentially we're looking to go down further as we go towards the back end of the year, and maybe into the new year even, and then look to sort of rebound from there back up. You've got to understand we've got a lot of major factors coming into play in the coming months with ISO 20022, which we'll get onto in a minute as well. But there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be changing, say in November, with the payment system. So we'll wait and see what happens. And obviously we have the biggest elephant in the room, which is the Ripple lawsuit. Just to give you a quick update on that, we're at a stage now where the SEC is still not giving the Henman emails, and doesn't look like they will. Potentially we could see a settlement before or they ever disclose those emails, because I believe that those emails will point out that Ripple XRP is not a security, and also it will probably point out and highlight corruption within the SEC. So it's highly likely that is something that they don't want, but both judges are inclined to get that information out, as far as I'm aware. So we'll see what happens, but again, it's just the SEC delaying this. I think there was one major win for the Ripple legal team and for you Ripple investors, which was, I think they got the permission to look at some video evidence in regards to some of the employees at the SEC, in some interviews and some conference speeches, etc. So yeah, things are sort of moving along as best as they can, I suppose, within the restraints of the US legal system. But you know, a victory for XRP Ripple is looking likely. Obviously, don't hold me to that, but it is looking as if the judges, we've got summary judgment, and then obviously it may go to trial. So we'll see what happens there. Now we're just going to move on to something else to do with XRP quickly. It's something that I found quite interesting. I thought it was quite a interesting thing. I spoke to Alexa the other day and asked its viewpoint on.
Alexa, what is the world's neutral bridge currency?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the digital currency, XRP, acts as a bridge currency to other currencies. It does not discriminate between any fiat/cryptocurrency, which makes it easy for any currency to be exchanged for another.
Well, thank you, Alexa.
So I don't know if that means anything, guys, but certainly, you know, that's interesting. You ask Alexa, what is the world neutral bridge currency? And it tells you it's XRP. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, central banks, you know, 70–80% of central banks are working on a CBDC, which is effectively going to be the country's cryptocurrency. But they are still going to be required to interoperate with other things of value, and Ripple XRP, XRP the token, is best set to do that. And obviously Ripple are working on ODL as well. So things are looking very, very promising for the future of XRP. But obviously we've got a few roadblocks on the way, guys. There was something other very interesting the other day, guys. I thought very interesting. There was something that was released by Lloyds Bank. I'm from the UK. It was very interesting to hear, you know, Lloyds Bank talk about something that I've been banging on about for a while, and sound pretty crazy sometimes when I mention ISO 20022. But you know, we've got Lloyds Bank talking about it, you know, telling us about the time frame. So you know, let's have a look at this, guys.
So for Lloyds Bank, there's two key sets of dates. 2022, the Target 2 migration will go live when over one weekend we go from MT messages on the Friday to MX messages on the Monday, a big bang approach. And at the same time, the whole industry will begin the CBPR Plus migration from MT to MX, which is really key because that is when we have to start receiving ISO messages. Lloyds Bank will also start sending ISO messages at that time, although that's obviously optional as part of the SWIFT rules. The second date is the revised Bank of England chapter migration, which will now be in April 2023. This will mean that for 5 months, between November 2022 and April 2023, where the UK local infrastructure will truncate any enhanced data sent into the UK, a request will be sent out by all UK chapter participants to their FI clients not to send enhanced data to UK beneficiaries during this period.
And that's Lloyds Bank. All right, guys. So understand what's coming. ISO 20022 Migration is going to be live in November of 2022. It was meant to go live last year. They pushed it forward. We've been waiting a year for this to go. Okay, this basically means that messengers and banks will be allowed to provide this new messaging system and use the ISO compliant protocols to provide payments and the movement of money. So this is really something that is quite huge, guys, especially in the UK. All banks will have to be migrated over by 2025. This guy mentioned in here something to do with CHAPS payments being done by April 2023. So guys, April, 2023, 2024, 2025, these years are going to be massive, but you don't want to be getting invested then. You want to be invested before. Okay, there's no point investing, when everything's going up. You need to see this before it happens. Okay, ISO compliant protocols and their assets, are a good bet as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and I put my money where my mouth is. So it's very interesting to see this, guys. And obviously keep watching that space. And you've also got, the Digital Pound Foundation banging on about. You just need to go on their Twitter feed, guys, and you will see what they are pushing out in partnership with, Ripple, with Quant, with ETN, which is another UK-based cryptocurrency. But digital assets are being embraced here in the United Kingdom. Not so much in the United States, but certainly here in the UK. They want to embrace it, and you want to position yourself accordingly, especially whilst we're going through a real difficult period within the conventional fiat system. So moving on to my final piece, guys. We're back to Jim Ricketts, guys, and I remember at the start of the video I said to you, keep in mind about when we were talking about Blackrock and how they are, the largest asset manager in the world, managing over 10 trillion. Now, guys, you got to understand what part of history we are in. Okay, we are in the part of history where basically they removed gold from, the reserve system, from backing the dollar, and effectively since the 70s. Our money has not been backed by anything. They've been printing money out of complete thin air, and we've had pandemics, and we've had God knows what, all sorts that has happened. And all they've done, and the answer to everything, has been print more money. Okay, just to give you an example of that, Biden has just launched his bill for, I think it was 400 billion in an inflation bill. So basically, to beat inflation, they want to print more money, which is basically where the problem started. So, these are the idiots that are running our world. Are you going to leave it to them, for your future? So understand, BlackRock is huge. Majority of people's pensions are tied up with these pension funds that are being managed by BlackRock. Listen to what Jim Ricketts has to say about BlackRock, guys. And this is his theory about the ICE 9 prediction, which he predicted many years ago, before the pandemic. But this guy seems to know what's coming, and he seems to have got the nail on the head here, guys. I mean, I knew about this a while ago, but his words are becoming more and more poignant, if I can say so. So we'll let Jim Ricketts talk about BlackRock and his ICE 9 prediction.
I was having dinner with a friend not long ago in New York City. We met at a place called Oriole, which is in Midtown. My dinner companion that night was a senior advisor to BlackRock. As you may know, BlackRock is now the largest asset manager on the planet. It directly manages $5 trillion in assets, and it oversees another $11 trillion through its Aladdin platform.
Now, do you remember, guys? We'll go back to this article here. Okay, and what did it say at the top? If it comes up. Okay. Coinbase forges deal to give BlackRock clients access to crypto. Venture will allow customers of Aladdin network to trade Bitcoin directly. Okay. So they're allowing this huge asset manager to bring in Bitcoin. Okay. As well. And that's probably because they're running out of assets. But anyway, we'll let them carry on.
That means one firm controls more money than the GDPs of China, Russia, and Japan combined. Anyway, my dinner companion happens to work directly for Blackrock's CEO. As we nursed our white wine and the evening wore on, she let something slip. If I remember her words, she said something like, "They want to tell us we can't sell." What was she talking about? Who was she talking about? These elites share one vision, and they're about to make it a reality. That vision is one world order, one world taxation, and one world money. They've worked for years behind the scenes preparing to realize that vision. They've literally rigged the laws of international finance. Everything is basically in place right now. And there's essentially no way to stop this from happening. When the crisis hits, they'll flip the switch, freezing the global financial system. That will give them time to reset the world economy according to their vision.
What did these elites want from your contact at BlackRock?
Basically, they want to classify BlackRock as too big to fail. The technical term is Systemically Important Financial Institution, or SIFI. That designation normally applies to banks, such as Bank of America. If your bank gets the SIFI label, it means the government will bail you out first in a crisis. But it also means you must turn over control of your bank until the crisis subsides. In this case, they're trying to reclassify BlackRock, an asset manager, as too big to fail. If they succeed, they'll be able to freeze BlackRock when the crisis hits. BlackRock clients won't be able to sell. They won't be able to buy either. Their accounts will go dark indefinitely. And the elite operatives will take control of BlackRock's assets remotely via the internet. But our research shows that their ICE-9 plan goes much, much deeper.
Galileo FX is trusted by more than 2,000 users worldwide to trade automatically.
So guys, you get the picture there. Jim Rickards is talking about BlackRock here, and he's talking about the fact that, you know, the US government wants to make them systemically important, and therefore they'll be able to freeze the assets and not allow the funds to sell. Okay, and this will be in the event of a global financial crisis. Now, guys, you've got to understand this is where we are heading. Okay, they are devaluing the currencies. Inflation is soaring. Okay, we are hitting record levels of inflation. Interest rates need to be higher than inflation in order to combat inflation. Okay, that is looking like it will break the system. Okay, it looks as if they did that, what Volcker did back in the 80s or 70s, sorry, they will break the system. Now, if you imagine people who are coming up to remortgaging their houses, okay, when they remortgaged or took out their mortgages initially over the last 2 decades, we've had low interest rates. Okay, it was affordable for people to pay for their loans. Now things will become increasingly unaffordable. People will lose their homes. People will not be able to afford the increased mortgage repayments on their mortgages and on their loans. So stop taking credit. Don't get that new car. I got rid of my car in January. It was a Mercedes 3-litre. Got rid of it. Why? Because I knew petrol prices where they were heading because of the geopolitical situation. You have to read what's going on in the world. Now, obviously, we don't see everything, but you have to pick up on it in order to protect yourself, protect your children, protect your family, okay? For you to still keep skin in the game. It's very important that, you know, you stop watching, you know, EastEnders, okay? Or what's going on with, you know, Ryan Giggs and, you know, his case. You know, last month it was Johnny Depp. They are constantly wanting you to look the other way whilst they basically reset the system, okay, and change the money system moving forward, because it gives them more control, more power, and ultimately it removes and resets. And that's why they're calling it a great reset, because it will remove all the debt that the world has got. Okay, and the IMF knows it, the BIS knows it, they all know it. Okay, and it's not unprecedented. It has happened before. All right, guys. So it's very, very important to understand what Jim Rickards is saying. He's not saying this for no reason. He's a very intelligent guy. He's been in very senior roles throughout his life, and I'm sure he's privy to more information than we are. And you know, we're very lucky that he's even giving us a gist of potentially what is going to come, and he's not too far off from what's going on at the moment. So moving on, guys, finally to my last piece here, guys. It's going to be talking about the Brics nations. So again, you know, we're looking at a new international reserve currency. That's very interesting because I thought we already had one. Now, the dollar, you had Jerome Powell come out a few weeks ago and say that the world could have more than one reserve currency, which I thought was quite interesting, because I predict that they already know that this new Brics nations reserve currency, which potentially will be backed by gold or other commodities, will act as an international reserve currency. However, they will still require interoperability between CBDCs and this new international reserve currency, which is being launched by the Brics nations. So this again is something very, very interesting to look out for. There seems to be blocks forming throughout the world in terms of trade. Technically, well, we are sort of already within a global war situation, financial war, the moment sanctions were launched against Russia. So, you know, this is already happening. It's just we haven't got bombs going off at the moment, but you know, we're a stone throw away from that as well, with the likes of Pelosi, you know, going and kicking China a little bit. So you know, these are things that are all happening, guys, and it's something that you need to keep your eye on. You know, gold is going to be very significant moving forward, guys. Very, very significant. If you haven't got any gold yet, I would suggest you go and buy some gold and silver. It will protect you. You know, Bitcoin, yeah, it's great. It's argued that, you know, it's a hedge against inflation. I would argue it's not. You have something physical, you can store it with you, and overall, it's been undervalued over the years. Truly, truly undervalued. And I would predict that gold is going to go a lot higher as the restraints on gold and the manipulation that has taken place on the gold market is removed, and this really here is the start of that. These countries have got huge reserves of gold. What did the UK, Canada, some of the European nations do? They sold their gold. Yeah. So this is something very, very important to watch out. I think potentially we're going to a new monetary system, which is potentially going to be backed by commodities and gold. Judy Shelton, who you know, talked about it, mentioned in some sort of cryptocurrency way. So again, that leads me to believe that potentially, you know, this is all going to run on blockchain, potentially the XRP ledger, and you know, anything of value to interoperate with anything other of value. So, you know, it looks as if the writing's on the wall, guys, and it doesn't take a you know, rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. But these are very exciting times as an investor, as somebody who follows geopolitics and the financial markets and alternative financial markets. You know, these are very, very interesting times to see. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. So thank you very much for your time. I hope that's been informative. I hope I've not gone on for too long, but there was a lot to get through, and still there is a lot to talk about. And if there's anything you guys want to talk about, leave some comments. But please do like and subscribe. It's share this with your loved ones. Protect them. They those that are still watching EastEnders and Love Island and watching the Ryan Gigg case. Get them to look away for 5 minutes and just actually look what's going on in the world and why the price of their milk is going up. Why the price of their bread is going up. Why the price of their energy bill has gone through the roof. It's time to wake up, guys, and really smell the coffee, because things are going to get really quite bad. And if you're not prepared, well, God help you, and I wish you the best of luck if you're not positioned, in a way that's going to protect you. And that means owning other assets, not being too, heavily in debt here, and also owning assets that are outside of the normal financial system, which in the event of a collapse, you still have something to fall back on. You still have something there. So I'll wrap it up, guys. Thanks for your time, and I'll speak to you on the next one from Crypto Cave. Take care.
You're strong.